I'll just make 3-4 brief points. The first thing is about the conference, and then about something about the organizational thing. I think what have we, I want to assess it, I will assess at 3 levels. One is empirical, other is theoretical, and third is philosophical. I think this conference has been empirically very rich. All of us have got various areas where we don't even know anything to be aware of, and we now can have a very comprehensive idea, empirical idea to theorize. I don't think we have started theorizing it. I don't think the conference can actually be the site of theorization, but I'm sure all of us now will carry the empirical details that we are having, and that will help us in theorizing the relation between technology and society. I think Jigyasa was mentioning earlier that probably we have missed one major thing in that theorization part, is the state. So now I feel that we should have written technology, state and society. Centrality of state is missing out somewhere, and this missing out may not be normal. It could be very techno-driven, because I think that this neoliberal state is creating a kind of atmosphere where we are moving, our attention has shifted from state to social dimension. So one has to be very cognitively conscious about it. State, I remember Professor Mohanty's old formulation, I don't know if he remembers that, Silicon State. Because I remember, because we in the Holi we gave him a title, the President of the Silicon State. So that time we brought this idea, and now we have moved out from there. Silicon State is a very old thing now. Now this is a new name we have to think of. I mean, I call it techno-authoritarian state, but maybe that is not enough.
It is the Silicon State.
That's true, but that doesn't explain everything now. I mean, maybe we can qualify that also probably. But imagine that time, I think this is 1985 when you first time talked about, we didn't even have idea that silicon is becoming so powerful. Maybe it's quantum state now. The kind of things developing is beyond silicon now.
Quantum operates on chips also.
But quantum may operate beyond chips also. That's what they are saying now. So we don't know. I mean, there's something to be investigated. But what I'm suggesting is that we have to be very, very cautious about the emerging nature of the state. What I see in political science and with all our friends, their overemphasis on the government and complete ignorance of the state. So they think state and government has merged completely. I think that, as Satish always, earlier he formulated, now I don't know if he agrees with that, he said the difference between the present regime and the previous regime is that the managers have changed. The state remains the same. There's a neo-colonial state is marching. It will keep changing the managers depending on who is more adequate. Of course, I mean, it's not that there's no difference between the managers. That is one thing. Theoretically, we really have to connect these things together. That work has to be done. And philosophically, I don't think we have really reached to the level of philosophical discussion. Because the philosophy section, I feel that most of our philosophers in India are still suffering from what Akhil Belgrami calls cognitive mimicry. That we keep repeating that thing. Heidegger, we have not moved out from Heidegger as yet. How to philosophize, and something that you did yesterday, and that was very much in the Dayakrishnan tradition. Dayakrishna probably was the only person whom I find, he always said that we have to get back to philosophizing, not only reflecting on philosophers. So that level we have not achieved. So questions that Anuradha has been raising about the truth, or about nature of technology itself, epistemic nature of technology, or the way modernity conceives technology, or what you used to argue about industrial revolutionary ethos, which continues to be our guiding principle as yet. Probably those things we have to rethink and get back to that level, which I'm sure if we continue with this for the year, we will continue talking and reflecting upon this. I think the task before us is to understand, to explain, and to transform, or to think of transformative struggle. So this churning has to to be continuous, which creative theory's mandate is. I'll just say that we have big dreams ahead, and let me talk about that. We are yet to really arrive on. We have been doing a lot of conferences. 11th, I am not very happy about it. Of course, organizedly very successful that we have 11 conferences, but we have not really worked on perspectives. Each conference has become an isolated thing. We have not worked on that conference properly to think of a perspective on which we can do further churning. We will not agree with that. I mean, Dhananjay has been asking, or Ajay is not here, he has been asking that, what is your canon? I don't want to form a canon as Professor Mohanty suggests, but we definitely have to have some kind of framework there which can be further debated, and as I say, it's unending, continuously evolving. Of course, we have been speaking, one thing is very common, and Dhananjay said this time that great thing about this theory, this group is that in 11 years, we have never left one point speaking from the margins and for the margin. So we are speaking truth for the margin without any hesitation. That's a great thing. But we also have to think of creating a new utopia at this time of absolute dystopia. I mean, technology has created dystopia. Now, what kind of new utopia can we create? What can we do? And there, I think, Savita's effort of bringing poetry in and November, if the conference happened, that conference should not become a literature conference only. It should be a creative theory conference on literature, so that we integrate that aspect. But literature has a lot of possibilities through which we can not only express, also understand a lot of things. We don't have burden of quoting people, Heidegger or anybody in literature. We can straightway talk about the truth, whatever we understand. So probably that dimension we have to see, and fortunately there are a lot of poets in creative theory, and that's the integral part of creative theory, and we have not been able to integrate that in the creative theory as such even today. We think it's, I mean, this is my problem also, because I understand very little poetry, but we have to make efforts to understand that, I think. Another point that I was waiting entire year to apologize to Anuradha, because I mean, this is one point that I have been talking about, from participation to community formation. We have drastically failed there. Not that we have failed, I'm sure we are developing a community, of course, but large number of people who come to us, they come and present a paper and then go. So there's no dialogue with them. Maybe a lot of issues are there. I was just thinking, maybe if we take the entire creative theory enterprise outside Delhi, then only it's possible to prison everybody for 2-3 days and force them to dialogue outside the meeting and all that. That could be one thing. So I wrote to Anuradha last time when she did not come for a session that this is a big problem, and she got very angry because he informed me that she was not coming, and yet I wrote in the public forum that, well, you didn't come and that's not fair. But the point was to make everybody know that this is something that we expect. That, I mean, I go by Ranveer Singh's idea. He used to say, if I'm coming for the conference, I will coming for the entire conference, or I will not come. Of course, there are a lot of issues. Health does not permit sometimes. Family problems are there. Problems are actually multiplied now. But leave. Biggest problem is that taking leave from the college or university. People are not taking, I mean, it's very difficult to take leave. But yet, I think somehow we have to think of transforming this this participation to community. The last thing, I must say that please don't take anybody's name, not only me. I mean, Professor Mohanty would agree with me. We all are nimit to a larger project. It's a very big project. It's an intergenerational project. We are just instrumental. Instrumental is not a right translation for nimit. We are not instrument. We are nimit. Nimit has no translation. Bazalika was saying we are nimit to a bigger project, and that's a very cosmic project, Giri, that we are probably thinking of, and that's transcendence is involved in that. The involvement of the people without any remuneration is something that people can't even think of today. Everybody who thinks of organizing conference starts with this idea कि कितना पैसा किसको दे सकते हैं. And very interestingly, every time Savita says we should organize some money for volunteers. I said, no. As long as there are volunteers, your project will go on. The moment you start giving money, the project will collapse. We can't pay to Sanjana the amount of work she did. How much do you need to pay her? Just can't. Not only doing the work, paying from their own pocket several times, not even telling us that they have paid. So I think this is the beauty of this self-organizing community, which is not dependent on financial thing that much. I'm so happy about it that finally I'm proving to be right that knowledge is a collective project. It's not an individual project. Thank you very much.